Right, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How we're doing? Is there anybody there? There is. Brilliant. Let's get the chart. Where is the chart? Oh, there it is. Right, say that done. Where's my monitor? There's the monitor. Get the final details done. Excellent. Some beauty lighting. All right. Okay, type in the chat. Hi. So I don't feel lonely. If you're on here for the first time, please subscribe. I'll not disappoint. And yes, we're going to learn some stuff, I think. Hopefully. So, two things I'm always really interested in, and that is watching guitarists play live. I think is really insightful. So yesterday, for watching my live stuff, I was watching Brett Gorsted and the other guy, TJ Helmrich, doing an old MIT performance. Must have been way back in the 90s. Which I thoroughly enjoyed. So that's what I was listening to in the car. And then, because I work late on a Monday and a Tuesday, I listened to a couple of streams. One of them I can't remember the name of. That was on the Monday. But yesterday, I watched Andy Wood, and I thought his stream was quite interesting. Very similar to what I've been talking about, and that's using fourths when you're soloing. And that led me on to thinking about looking at the approach he was taking was very much what I've started looking at now, like one note arpeggios. So I thought, I reckon if I put my finger on it, I've got a feeling that probably like me, a lot of people overlook the one note arpeggio a lot of the time. Mainly because I've been obsessed with extending everything, and it's so easy to sort of kind of improvise and play and visually see that I don't really bother so much with the one note stuff. Hi Tim, it's my first time here. Of course it is, Enzo. Of course it is. Good day, mate. How's things? So yes, things are good. That's around the time they did the Uncle Mo. Yeah, in fact, that's. I'll be listening to that again. What was the reason that triggered to listen to it? Initially, I was just wanting to just see people improvise using. I knew would be using a lot of chromatic stuff. That necessarily wouldn't be completely locked in a grid. So I was just wanting to hear a bit of, freestyling. I bumped into a guitarist I've known for a lot of years when I was out on my lunch the other day, and we're just talking about guitarists and stuff like that, and we're just talking about how just guitarists were like, and actually Tom Quayle came into it, and I think Tom Quayle's a great sort of benchmark, if you're wanting to learn to play your legato in time, and he's got a very sound argument of why you need to have real control over your legato, and I think it's a super important thing. But sometimes you just want things to feel free and kind of float around a beat. So I was kind of ready for sort of that being off the grid and just hearing people go with it, man. And I think that MIT gig, watching TJ and Brett play, with a very sort of free flowing. There's some great improvisational moments that have got also simple ideas but horrendously complicated stuff going on there. There's a lot of sidestepping things when you listen to it, and it's great. Just it's rock fusion, so it's very sort of accessible. A lot of the a lot of the tunes are very much like a one groove that just end up as a big jam. I was inspired to this morning to make some trap beats. Let me know if you want me to upload to Discord. Upload to Discord. Everything should be uploaded to Discord. I'll have a listen. If you want, I'll even jam on it on here. That would be good. The reason I found out about that band to begin with was because the keyboard player and Gary Wills played in the band Tribal Tech. Okay. It's funny, Tribal Tech. The name Tribal Tech suggests like 90s tribal tech music, doesn't it? Sweaty clubs and a beefer. Right, yeah, render, put them up. In fact, any tracks anybody's doing, I mean, if you get a chance to comment them, do put them up in Discord, which would be marvelous because I love hearing what people are doing. So yes, one finger arpeggios. So I'm assuming that like it's like something we've done and then not bothered. MIT players, yeah. I haven't listened to much Scott Henderson apart from he's the guy who, when I was very young, I think I was really into his he had an REH video. And he had an REH video, if I remember rightly. And it was about pentatonic substitution. Might have even had some sidestepping playing. Here's Mac. Mac. I hope you're in for some one-finger arpeggios. Because that's what we're doing today. One-finger arpeggios. I'll probably crack and want to do like 2 or 3 note arpeggios, but for now, we're going to start with one. Of course, I didn't prepare any of this, apart from I said I would do one note arpeggios. So we'll get started in a minute. I just need to have a bit more of my coffee, but that's tuned. That's good. And then if anybody, while you're here, whilst I've said one note arpeggios, one finger, one note per string arpeggios, anybody who has got anything that want to learn about arpeggios, right, or want me to experiment with, just say in the chat, okay? So any questions you've got relating to arpeggios, I can't answer everything, but certainly within my limited experience range, I'm happy to have a look at that, okay? Because there's lots going on with arpeggios and stuff. I mean, the main thing I decided to do the one note per string thing is because it's just so overlooked. And I was playing, I thought, oh, this is really good. I'm getting other sort of like lead ideas from it, you know. At least I hope I do today. But I was last night when I came and I was like, oh, this is really good. This is just what I need. And the concept's quite easy. And it can lead to some pretty cool stuff. But I think the other thing that's leading me down that one finger arpeggio thing is because I'm trying to work on the clarity of my playing, where we're just transitioning with one note per string, just getting that real clean, super clean transition as I can, especially with barring, because now I'm doing sort of the quartal thing a bit more. I need to really practice the rolling on all my fingers, and I think that's a really quite difficult technique to do. It's one of the more challenging things. So stuff about arpeggios, don't go quiet. Anything, just say. you know. I don't even mind starting from the beginning of an arpeggio. So, as per usual, it's really cold in here. So, not warmed up. Doesn't matter. Well, that's interesting. Don't know where that came from. What's this one do? Alright. So. Uh-oh. I'm just going to open up another project. 2 seconds. Sound will go off. Fuck. Wait a minute before I do that. Been deleting stuff, haven't I? Alright, there we go. How have I done that? Alright, cool. We're away. Right, well, I'll start with what gave me the idea. So basically, one finger, 1 note per string arpeggios. Very simple, okay? All we're doing is this. We can take, we'll do E major. So E major 7. So if you think of the chord, that, okay? And we're just going to use 1 note per string. And the way that I finger it's like this. Now I use this fingering because it sort of preserves the fingering as if I was going to do a normal arpeggio. Okay, so we're always thinking, like when we're improvising, we're always thinking about fingerings that are going to help us with future possibilities, okay? So this is all we're doing. So we're outlining that E major 7. Okay, so we're just going first finger, stretching with the second finger. Good practice for those stretches. First finger on the major 7. So we've got root, 5th, 7th, 3rd, 5th. Now, I've been watching Rick Graham play, and I don't notice because he does a lot of economy picking, I don't notice the any particular aggressive rolls in his hand. Okay, I mean they're there, but they'll be very, very slight. So I was just thinking about like the angles for the sweep. So if we do an aggressive sort of downward slant and then turn it, I feel like there's a bit of latency. I don't feel like the pick is tracking with the strings as accurately as it could be. So for me, I'm keeping the pick more straight. I don't think we're going to experience any inefficiencies because we're not alternate picking. So there's no, we're not using, we're not particularly using a double scape motion all the time. There's only a slight rotation at the end, just to get over that string. Saying that, it's almost double escape at the end. Because ideally, you got to do whatever you need to do just to make sure that that pick doesn't fall on the other side of the string. Because what you'll do is get double notes when you don't want them. If you do want them, that's fine. Which is an alright sort of practicing thing, but I only want one. So it's a great sort of jumping off point. You can see a slight rotation. I mean, the thing is what you practice slow always slightly changes when you're practicing up to speed. We need to practice thing up to speed. It's the I love that Andy Wood analogy when he's saying, yeah, you can practice like slow. I mean, for me, it's like you're walking through the motions. Maybe like a racing car driver walking around the track before he drives around it, or something like that, right? You're just looking at where all the tricky sort of bends and things are. Same with this. But the only way to actually experience it is to play the thing, isn't it? And you need it up to a tempo, so you can just polish it up a little bit. You need that centrifugal force of motion, and then be able to control that. But the main thing is like having full understanding of what the mechanics should be. And then you're just feeling your way around. The other thing I think we do, the more I'm playing, the more I realise how much we worry about speed. And actually speed just comes. We don't have to really kind of worry about the really hypersonic speed. As long as we're practicing to a tempo where we can polish our technique, we're going to be all right. So Enzo, I think, has an incoming question here. Right, Enzo, I'm glad you're on here asking questions. Do you ever find picking over the frets helps? No, I never do that. I know I've seen Frank Zappa doing it and stuff like that. I suppose the logic behind that is because you're controlling, which is a very interesting topic, is you're controlling the depth of the plectrum. And I remember seeing a Troy Grady thing ages ago about a guitar made by, was it Floyd Rose? Where the body kind of was raised up and it controlled your picking depth. Yeah. Picking depth is depth. It's an interesting sort of thing because I suppose I was getting the camera on. I remember years ago, Paul Gilbert talking about, when you're playing like harder on the strings, one way you can control dynamics is Yeah, it was Floyd Rose. One way to control dynamics is to push the pick into the strings. So you're not picking any harder, you're just pushing the pick in. So that's pushing the pick in. And on occasion I've used that. That has been when I was an alternate pick. That would be definitely something that I remember doing. So I'm pushing it in. But the only problem with that is, because I'm pushing in with the pick, I start tensing up because you need to keep a grip on the plectrum. That's what I'm finding. Okay. However, my preferred method here, really, when we're talking about picking, is we want our whole body to be relaxed. We want our shoulders to be relaxed. We need our arms to be relaxed. Hands to be relaxed, and we don't want to be tensing in any way. Okay, we want to be as loose as I possibly can. That's been the method that's yielded the most results for me. So pushing the pick in, I find it difficult to keep relaxed when I'm doing that, and I'm finding that this hand is tensing up quite a bit. So again, I always come back to displacement planting, or our key here, and reminding yourselves, because sometimes when I'm on a live and things aren't going well, and I think I'm playing crap, mind you, right? That's a whole other thing, right? But when I'm on a live and I'll think, oh God, I'm struggling here, and then you're just all sorts going on. I'm going through whatever muscle memory licks and stuff, going through there, throwing out the usual preset stuff, and getting more and more tense. That can become an issue, and part of that is we forget what it's like to be relaxed. So we need to remind ourselves of what that tension is, and it simply is just just getting your hand on the guitar and just slightly adding as much pressure as you think you need. So this hand can play really light. So that's no plectrum. And another thing, just off the subject here, when you're practicing, your legato, a lot of the time I like to do it at a slow tempo, so improvising. In fact, we can even do one note arpeggios there. So we can have... sorry, I need to practice it slow though, sorry. So yeah, just improvising at a slower tempo, it just means, and the other thing I'll do with that is I'll listen to the space between the notes, because what we're wanting is really, really clean transitions between each note, and we're wanting each note as it's legato, to be kind of buffered up to the next one. That one note per string arpeggio there, that major 7, is great for practicing those transitions, just getting each note isolated. So anybody needing any help on the muting aspect of this, just shout out. So we've got Della. Oh, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you on here. What can I do to relax a little more? I have 15 years of playing, and that's always been an issue for me. So the first thing I would say is just being aware of like how little effort you need to put into the guitar, like how much, you know. So again, just that little exercise. Rick Graham's done this one where you just get a note and then see what the least amount of effort you need to get that note sounding good. Same with your fingers, because when you realize, right, that you don't need to really hit the notes that hard, then you can kind of start that relaxation part, but it's when we're putting too much effort in. So the other thing apart from this is, like, as we're talking about this, especially with legato, is how accurate your fingers are. I'll come back to the one note arpeggio in a minute. So we've got to think about hitting each note in its optimum place, yeah? And actually the technique for that is, again, I suppose it's like finger planting in a way. So it's almost, I imagine, like the keys of a piano, like the hammer hitting the string. So the speed in which my finger travels to the string, that's what's important, and finding the right area of the fret. The other thing is, because like this is usually done with distortion, you want to practice on clean and distortion as well, because it's all about controlling noise. Okay. So that's the other thing. The other thing is, like, meditation really helps. So if you do like body scan meditations, is really good. And in fact, I do like one when I'm playing, is I just feel I'll do an exercise. And I just think about each finger and relaxing it. Oh, and that's another really cool tip. Della. If you watch when I'm doing something like this, the first finger's moving, and what that does is when you're moving that first finger, it releases the pressure in your hand. So every time I do a cycle of that lick, when I go to the fourth, pretty much I kind of just release the pressure on this. But fundamentally, you're training all your fingers. Like with me, each finger, when it's not playing goes into a relaxed state. So again, you're just going to practice that, picking like an exercise. Maybe I think chromatic stuff's really helpful for this. So if I do like, I don't know, like a B major, just ascending. As I'm doing that, you can see each finger relaxes when it stops playing. They're sitting on the string, just chilling out. So you can try stuff like that. I find like super helpful. So yeah, chromatic things, focusing on relaxing each finger after it plays. Finger planting. In fact, there's that really good exercise where if we just take a major third, that's really good for practicing like the string crossing sort of thing. One of the many things. And then you could do something where you're going. And you're just, again, allowing each finger to relax. Okay. So I hope that sort of helped. That great question. That. If you do right hand harmonics, it can help to be right there. If you do right hand, interesting. Is that sort of like this kind of thing, which I don't do. So back to our major 7 arpeggio. Okay, let's do a minus 7. So just super handy, isn't it? So again, the thing, I'm just using these two fingers. What other ones have we got? Dominant 7. Okay. So again, this one, first finger, second, first. You just got to think your dominant 7 chord. E dominant 7. And then finally, flat 5, flat 7. So we're thinking of that chord, yeah. Okay, I'll just run through those again. Right, so we've got major 7, minus 7, dominant 7th, flat 5, flat 7. So there's some of the main ones. Right. What do we think to that then? Is this useful? But the main thing for me is the lovely little like jump off points, aren't they? Like if I don't want to, use a full arpeggio like that, it can get me up to a higher note quicker. And I can go to one of my other regular arpeggios. Okay. Coffee, is it break time yet? God, I've been on 40 minutes already. Right. Where's everybody? There you go. Just Pete, Med, and your... Right, okay, that's great. Excellent, Hippie. Okay, so coaching time, Hippie. How do you know that they're crappy? You're probably just saying it for a joke and probably don't mean it. But if you were to think they were crappy, or you experienced frequent crappiness in your beats, right? How do you know that they are crap? Oh, crappy rhymes with trappy. Sorry. Beg your pardon. Honestly, I think I need glasses, I'm persuading the missus I'm going to get a bigger monitor, though. Some in here. Wouldn't solve the problem here, though. God, honestly. Right, because, like, I have... so what actually happens here when you look at my setup is I have a teleprompter. I have this Elgato teleprompter, right? And it's really good because I can actually see into the camera, into the lens. So I've got like a little lens marker as well, so I can look directly at people. So like here, if I point down here, that's literally laser guided pointing at people. Good, isn't it? So I just know that I need to look there, I'm watching you. Yeah, you'll be doing your one note arpeggios. Seamless loops, I like it. Right, good. I'll give him a blast. All right. Come on, any questions? One. I mean, you can't. Can you have questions on one finger arpeggios? One note per string, I should say. Anything you do is an effort, yeah. But interesting, what I was going to talk about is this, just very briefly, is like when you're making music, two sets of emotions, and I always love talking about this because it's just amazing. The world opened up with this thought, this insight, is that when we're making music, there's our own self-judgment of what we're doing, okay? So let's say you thought the rhymes were really crabby, right? At the time you were making them, a lot of that feeling and thoughts are to do with your own self-judgment of your performance and not actually what the music's expressing. So the music expresses like one set of emotions, okay? And that's the set of emotions that we need to focus in, because that's what people who don't know you and their first experience of you is going to be the music. So what is that music expressing? Is it expressing the intention that you had? Okay, because the one thing they can't hear is the internal tension and judgment that we have as artists when we're in the moment, because it is very difficult not to be judgmental. And this is the thing I really specialize in, sort of on the coaching program. So two sets of emotions. our internal set of emotions, the inner game, our review of our performance. So a good example of this is improvising. So you might suddenly think, oh God, I'm not like doing this very well. It's not very good, right? That's a review of one's performance, and that can cloud the judgment of what the music is. So it can end up that we're like, oh, well, I don't think that music was going to be any good because I didn't feel good. And that's just not true. So this is why I have the automatic music making machine, is because what that does is it allows that separation in time. So you can produce a ton of material, right? And then be able to review it later on down the line, and then not have that kind of judgment, because you forget about the judgmental feeling that you had and you hear the music for the emotion that it's actually expressing. Best analogy for this is really, if you think of your music as one set of emotions and your internal thoughts and feelings about your performance as another set of emotions, it's like this. It's like having orange juice and trying to taste the orange juice after you had mouthwash. So the internal feelings of the mouthwash and the music with the emotion that you're trying to express, which is the important bit, because that's the bit that has data. It actually exists outside our body. It's fixed. When somebody hears that, you can't go back and change what they've heard. So that's the thing that has the hard data. So that's the thing that has to be judged and analysed when you get to that point with the editor. But thoughts and feelings are, although while they have some truth in them, they're very much based on the moment and forgotten about, and they move, and our opinions and what we're doing can completely vary depending on what's been influencing our everyday. Have we been arguing with the missus? Have, the kids been unruly? I'm having a crap time at work. These all can have like a subconscious impact on how we feel, like if we're not feeling good about ourselves. But the one thing that is unaffected is the actual stuff that's coming out the speakers or through your headphones. That's what we need to focus in. So sorry, Hippie, if I was like jumping to things because like my eyesight, because I can't read my prompter properly. But it did inspire me just to say that, because I think it's like one of the most important things ever. I've never really shared my music with anybody. Well, this is the interesting thing, Hippie, because you'll then experience this. So by sharing your music, just letting somebody, right? Because we talk about feedback, right? You think having feedback for somebody else or a famous producer or something like that will give you validation, but it's not the best feedback. The best feedback you can have is the feedback that you give yourself, okay? And the way to do that is to listen to your music after the judgment, after you've forgotten about the actual performance of creating that music, okay? That's the best feedback. I do a lot of work on this, actually. I should do a PhD on it, to be fair. Yes, removing that judgment and then being able to then analyse what we've got, and then being able to have a system of being able to analyse it. That's why like the wins, problems and opportunities come from. See, I love problems now, because I know once I remove the inner game from it and I'm hearing what I've done, okay, then I can start allowing that editor, that person who creates that judgment, can be very, very handy in terms of being an editor in offering feedback, okay? But it has to be at the right time. It has to be out the studio. It has to be away from the performance in order for it to work. When we do that, we can get an accurate impression of what's actually happening in the music. We can locate problems, and we can use the wins, problems, and opportunities system. So, why do I have wins? Because people love to get the problems. I just want to get to the problems. But you need to have wins because you need to feel good about the things that have happened. Like just turning up and listening to your music for the first time or sharing it with somebody is amazing, because when you share music with somebody, there's no going back. They've heard it now. And that is your performance. And that, they say you're only as good as your last gig. I mean, that's a bit harsh, right? Because it depends on what you're doing, okay? And what you're trying out. But at that point, when you're doing that, that is the most reliable kind of data you're going to get. And then when you listen back to your music, you can analyze it on an XY axis, and then you can work out exactly, what the problems were after you've done your wins. And then you can then just lavish in coming up with all the solutions. Now, it's not just writing music. This is like your guitar playing as well, improvising and then looking and just being honest with yourself, right? At what the problems are, because when you face up to those problems, I mean, it sounds bad, that, right? But when you start embracing the problems as a way forward, okay, then that's how you're going to improve. That's how I've improved. That's how I've got back into shredding and had exponential progress, is simply because I'm recording, I'm doing the lives. This is why I do a lot of teaching on here, is because I realized that what was happening is when I was teaching something, you can't be in the moment. So there's this very rapid dance between being in the moment and being analytical and trying to remember all the coordinates and the history of how you put this thing together, and it can affect your performance and you just turn to crap, like not being able to be clear about fret note and all this kind of thing, and then just playing crap can be really, really challenging. It's something that you'll see happen like loads of really, really good guitarists when they come in to teach something. It's like you'll be on a live stream, typical one, and then somebody will ask something, then you try and teach them it, and then it's like you just lose that lack of clarity because you're trying to remember how you did it and then play it to them, and then you start getting it wrong, and then it's like really embarrassing. Then it's a downward spiral. So like one of the things to like overcome that, because I realized that was a problem, the most rapid way to do that was to just get on here and start teaching guitar. Because it's a different, like if you're sitting in the room and I'm teaching you guitar like on Zoom or something, this is the one-to-one thing, it's fine. But when you need that like speed and clarity, it's something that you need to kind of practice, and it's just a different feel in front of a camera with other people watching. So for me, my solution was to turn up to the lives, have a vague idea of what I wanted to teach, and then just experience it and do it over and over and over again. That's how I've had a lot of lessons till it improves, and it rapidly improves, and then I go back, I watch what I did, I analyze what I did, I come up with like solutions to the problems, and then I just run it again till it's right. I mean, there's a great book, Robert Greene, Mastery is a brilliant book, and also Peak's a really good one. That's the book with the 10,000 hours theory, which I don't totally buy into, but it is a good theory, and it talks about Air Force One pilots in the Vietnam War, how they trained. They had a low kill ratio, unfortunately for them, and they were getting beat at one point. But what they did is to improve rapidly was they put cameras in the aeroplanes so that when they were training, they could view what they were doing, and they could watch the recordings back, and they would analyze the problems. They probably didn't do wins. They probably just went into a room and got told off, and then told like, how are you going to make it better? But they watched how they performed, and then they came up with how they were going to improve, and then they just ran that again, and that's how they became elite. Was recording everything, and again, recording yourself, getting a camera and recording yourself playing is a great data to do that. So that's brilliant that you shared your music, because that's data, because I'm going to listen to it now. Slap the guitar, please. Ooh. Sorry, that was more of a pat. Great to have you on here. So today, Obi-Wan, it's all about a guitar lesson. So we're just doing like one finger. Not one finger. It's my dyslexia now. One note per string. Arpeggios. So I noticed you're on Twitch there. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is where sort of my main event is, if you just search for Tim Hutch, and give me a subscribe, that would be amazing. If you watch this video back later and you've just come on, I've just gone through sort of all the sort of like main arpeggios with the fingerings, so you can look at that and briefly touching upon how I was doing. So there's some stuff there. Now, just like just an interesting sort of chat there about creativity in the process. A lot of most famous music has tons of happy mistakes, yeah. And happy mistakes are good because you want that, because this is why making music without judgment, you're more likely to cast the net wide. And by making those mistakes, it's going to give you ideas, okay? Because behind a mistake, and I'm glad you pointed this out, Enzo, when you make a mistake, okay, yes, it's a mistake, but there's a hidden intention, and I think that's very, very interesting. So when we hear back, we hear the mistake. What was the intention? Okay? Because then that, practiced, rehearsed, developed, researched, can lead to some very, very interesting, unique things. David Deutsch, the physicist, philosopher, I love what he says about problems. Problems is how we create new knowledge for ourselves. If we don't create new knowledge for ourselves, we can't progress. So it's obvious that, like, by having problems, we shouldn't feel bad about problems. We should basically work on them and come up with solutions for them, and that's how we're going to improve. And eventually you get to really good problems and unique problems, which are going to be the problems that, if you solve, are going to make you more of a unique player. And this is something that I'm experiencing now. I'm on this journey of, for example, pentatonic scales. I was like obsessed with 3-note per string pentatonic scales, then the phrasing with 2 notes. And then it led to sort of wide interval stuff and like getting bored of normal arpeggios. Right, because that was a problem. I was just like bored of that. So what else can I do? How can I come up with something else? And it was adjusting one note. And then I was like, hold on a minute. If I just take a pentatonic scale, miss a note, you can get like almost like a quartal harmony sort of thing. And then there's loads of like stuff you can do with that. And then that was a breakthrough moment. I was like really excited about that. And then it's just a question of going off and practicing it and then doing sequences. And then being able to add that in with the rest of your playing. And then you solve other problems, because then it's like, oh, well, this is a great way to create tension and release it, isn't it? Like that, going into something that's more familiar harmony-wise. The other thing about happy mistakes, this is good, Enzo, I'm coming back to this one, is mistakes are what makes us human. So that's very, very important. I mentioned it yesterday, wabi-sabi, the old Japanese philosophy of appreciating the imperfection, because imperfections have a soul. So we must be careful about how much we perfect things. Unfortunately, Instagram gives us a very, very not correct impression of the real world. We have a lot of guitarists going on there, and it's the most perfect 10-30 seconds of playing that you're going to get, usually highly edited. There's a lot of fakery kind of going on, but it's that quest of jumping up for attention and presenting this idea of something that's perfect, and that's just not realistic. And that's why, to really hear where a player is and to hear what they do when they're casting the net wide, and really getting to the edge of their abilities, not something that's highly edited or playing safe or something that's rehearsed. That's when we get live performances in front of people and improvising. That's the height. That's the jumping out of an aeroplane and somebody throwing a parachute after you and you're trying to get it kind of moment. And that's where we learn the most. But you have to go out naked. Queen, Radiohead, Nirvana all make mistakes, but people love it. Yeah, of course they do. I'm my own worst critic. Okay. So, that's okay. The critic is part of it. When you think of like the being a critic is fine, Enzo, but it has to be in the right place, doesn't it? There's the Walt Disney archetype, isn't it? So when we think of, and I have a similar one, slightly changed, but he would have the dreamer, realist, and critic, and he would have meetings with his team, and he would be one of these archetypes. So, he might come in and say, right, everybody, I want ideas, unlimited thinking, I don't care how ridiculous it is, you just got to come up with tons of really cool ideas. The team would do that, and then, they would, hold on, there we go. The team would come up with lots of ideas, right? And they'd pick one and then they would do it. And then the next thing you'd be like the realist. You'd be like, okay, how are you going to do it? And that's when those kind of crazy dreamlike ideas become a reality. And then once the projects would get to a certain point, he would be a critic. And then he would go through it, and then they would have actions to do to make improvements, and that would go back, and then you would have that loop round the dreamer and creator sort of thing. So I remember in coaching, though, highly debated on how to change this so it was more applicable to us musicians who write music. So dreaming, it's not something like, the problem with dreaming is it's just like it just happens, doesn't it? It's not something we have control over. But actually, to create something is something. It's a decision. It's an active decision. So the conjuring is more of a, well, I'm doing this, I'm going to make something. Whoa, the conjurer, which is a good one. I mean, I still like dreamer, but conjurer is good. So it's more active. It's more like, I'm doing this kind of vibe to it. Then we have the creator. So you start creating this thing after you've dreamt it, after you've thought about it. And then you have, instead of critic, and I really love this, the connector. Okay, so think about this. So this is back to you, hippie, on this. You have made a connection. So you're saying that, you've not really played your music in front of everybody. What you've done now is you've made a connection to the outside world, because everybody on the Discord now will be able to hear that music. And that's what we're meant to be doing. So you're closing that loop. And now when you hear your music back, you will be able to get really reliable data. And then be able to, if you want to pursue those tracks, you will have a very clear way forward of what you need to do if you analyze them correctly on how to improve not just that music, but also yourself. Nothing's perfect. Okay, so those beats, I haven't heard them, could be amazing. But for yourself, we always hear things that we can improve on. It's a great method for you to do that. And I highly recommend, now you've done that, doing wins, problems and opportunities, and analysing what that music is and what you could do to not only make that music better, more reflective on its purpose and its intentions, but also how you can use that information now to move forward with other pieces of music. So this is, I know we're doing these arpeggios, but this is like so important. Sorry everyone if I'm starting to go into kind of lecture mode, but it's like just one of these things is like, I feel I need to share. So do subscribe, anyone who is just new to the channel, and please give a thumbs up. I'm going to catch up on the chat. So come back to some more arpeggios. So true, going back and listening to old stuff is quite interesting. Sometimes you surprise yourself, other times you thought at the time it was good and ends up sounding crap. Exactly, because what we experience in the moment is completely unreliable, because it's skewed by how we were reviewing our performance. I often get that. This session is terrible, that music's horrible, but when I forget about the physical feeling and the feeling that I had mentally about my own performance and what I was doing at that time, often I'll hear that music and think, I'm a genius, how did I do that? I don't even recognise that it's me, right? I'm thinking, this is brilliant, I can't wait to work on that track. Other times, I think, oh, I'm just too good. And then I listen back and that's like, oh God, that's terrible. So again, it's that we can't, in the moment, as artists, we can't rely on what our thoughts are at the time. However, if we have to, there are other techniques we can use to overcome that, okay? And again, like, you know, that's something I've done on the past, direct listening. I don't know if I've got a video, you'd have to search it on direct listening, but it's something that I do a lot in my coaching program. Is I teach people how to listen to music, okay? And how to listen to it without judgment. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, when you're a producer? I know how to listen to music, okay, but do you know how to listen to music and know that, you know, which thoughts are from the music and which thoughts aren't useful? And how do we practice that? Hi Texas, how you doing? There's Perplexity. Oh, getting the thumbs up, great. And do give a thumbs up on the channel. Look, I've got 9 there, but I've got 8 people. Maybe everybody's done that. I never used to release my music. Then I realised I'm better than most. I'm almost better. Most anyone in mainstream. I know that arrogant, but when you listen to the trash in the mainstream, almost any one of you can do better. Well, because a lot of it is a formula. However, a lot of mainstream, there's a bit of psychology around it that makes it popular. So yes, I agree with that, but then there's also a science of why it got there and like why it is popular. Best views on street. No, I don't like. All right, okay. I'm ready to go out naked, Tim. I love indie music. For that reason, it's more acceptable to have those rough edges than the imperfect. Yes, I like that. That's so good. Oh, right, okay, so it doesn't matter. You've still made a connection with the outside world, hippie. And you can always put it. I'm sure. If you want us all to hear it, you can stick it in there. There is like a kind of thing just about music production, like in the channel, where you can do that, and then obviously the community can hear it, and I'm sure you'll get plenty of support. But either way, you know, very rarely do people like say anything bad about your music, you know, but if they do, there's like other agendas behind it. As I say, like having external feedback from people is incredibly inaccurate, because everybody has like a certain agenda. They might not like your music, they might have been arguing with the missus, they might be under pressure at work, they might just not like that or understand or have the framework of reference for the music or understand what you're trying to do, okay? And that's all fine, but it's not great feedback. And then anything else, you need to know yourself. So like the hi-hat's too loud, well, you need to be aware of that through practice of making music. Okay, through doing your wins, problems and opportunities, by finishing music, reviewing it and going back. That's what's going to sort all of that. I do have an accurate system of feedback called PAFs, where we look at the purpose, the arc, the thing, or the point where we're creating and releasing the most tension, hooks and space, which I do in the coaching program. And we can use this as a method of self-feedback by rating ourselves in different areas, because fundamentally for you to give accurate feedback on your music, okay, and to solve all the other problems like the hi-hat's too loud, the snare's too loud, is always reflect back on the purpose and the emotion that the music is trying to express. Music is about manipulating people's feelings and emotions, isn't it? Through this purpose. So if something isn't serving the purpose, then that needs looking at, okay? And that is a much, much accurate and useful way to looking at getting self-feedback and improving. I know it sounds like, well, the purpose, that's not like turning a hi-hat down like 1 dB or making a kick drum. Exactly. The whole purpose of the song is what you're trying to do, and when you come to solving these problems, it may be that you have to look at the kick drum, or you have to, or there's something else going on in the mix that's stopping somebody actually getting to what that attention was. So it's probably not the most obvious way to think of things, but I can guarantee you now it's the best. And you can do it when you're improvising as well. You can, if you want peer review, Enzo, you can. But I mean, for me, I'll probably just start asking you a question. Because at the end of the day, it's purely about getting your own insight. I used to be desperate for feedback off people, and then I realised it's like not really doing me any good. Uploaded to music feedback channel, brilliant. Well done, hippie. There's the connection made. Yay. Hi, Stelly, how you doing? Good day, mate. So, brilliant. All right. Okay, I'll do something a bit more ambitious with a 1 note per string arpeggio. All right, so we have got a couple of things that I'll do. One of them I've probably done before. But we've got fifths, like 50 kind of type things. So again, we're in, well, we can go in C sharp minor. Quite like C sharp minor at the minute. So I love this arpeggio. So the first time I kind of came across that was like a zillion years ago, and I think it was like that Joe Satriani thing, isn't it, where he mutes and then does this hammering on thing here. But I thought, oh, that sounds good, and then kind of started playing it and then forgot about it, but come back to it. Because it sounds great, you can go to other notes, I can go to that ninth. So there we've got lovely bit of straight, pentatonic, whatever. And then we're into another phrase, aren't we? Oh, headphones going wonky. Right. Alright, so this one, this is, what is it? It is... It's a C sharp minor 9. Here we go. So, first bit. First finger, third finger. Sorry, first finger on the 9th fret, 6th string. We've got third finger on the 11th of the 5th, and 4th finger. So that's one way you can finger it. But I would practice both having that and that. Okay, because sometimes you got more opportunities this way, depending where you are. And then we're on the 3rd string, and we've got our first finger, 2nd finger on the 12th, and then lastly 4th finger right up on the 14th fret. Now, descending I find a bit more trickier. So there's another really cool arpeggio. There is another version of it. So I think, like, we can have, if we go to A, this is like a Lydian kind of sound. So yes, these have got like an 11 in them, either a minor 11 or a major 11. Oops. So again, it's the same thing here. So it just got that lovely 9th. But instead we're doing the same shape here, as we're doing here, but we'll move it up just a semitone. So go to the 6th fret. So like some nice little phrases we can get going there. So we've got a minor version, and then we've got like a major version there, and then there'll be other sort of places you can play this as well. So there's some basic sort of ideas with that. Hopefully you found that arpeggio useful. Again, we're going through all 6 strings. I'm only using the rotation I need to use to get over the string. And we're really looking at the separation of the notes. The other thing to do is, like, I think often, you know, when we're talking about relaxing and things like that, I think often we'll play faster than what we have to. You know, I was listening to Eric Johnson. I mean, I'm constantly doing my kind of fakery. Hold on a minute. I've frozen. Right, there we go. Yeah, sometimes my prompter freezes. Right, you know, like, for example, like that. Often I'll play that way too fast, like I am there when I hear Eric Johnson playing. He's never really going that ridiculous. So I think, like, a lot of the time when we're playing is just maybe, and this is a reminder to me, you know, just take it down a gear. You don't have to put the accelerator completely to the floor. All right. So yeah. Okay. And then finally, the whole kind of Hey Tim, just now tuning in. Should I rewind or just watch from here? This arpeggio is super nice. I never got to watch it, that recent 4th video. Yeah, it's similar sound. I suppose this is similar because we're using fifths. Yeah. But yeah, you can watch it back. I mean, what I might do is I might just stick everything at the end to save everybody the effort of, like, skipping through. So if you're here on the live now, good, because I'm going to put everything at the end so you can just go there. I've got like automatic timestamps clicked, but it never does the timestamps. I don't understand why. Mech, maybe you know. This is the kind of thing I think you kind of like understand. But why is, like, there's not automatically time putting the kind of chapters in on my live? It happened once where it automatically did it. So the major version, it isn't really, it's all fifths, isn't it? Although there's a minor 7 there. So this is the minor version with a minor 11. And then the major version would just move up 1 semitone the second half of this. Okay, but I'll put these all at the end. Yeah. So the other thing is just just to add in like the one kind of note per string thing, is we've also got like the quartal thing. So this is the thing I'm like really quite keen about at the minute, and it's just getting that clarity in. So what's actually happening there is I'm just barring. Strictly speaking, this does have a couple of extra notes in, but there's big chunks of it that are just like one note per string. So the reason I really like this is because it's practicing rolling with the first finger and muting. A skill which is, I don't have, it's pretty rubbish. And then we have this lovely little quartal bit. I love playing that. It's so handy. You know, when you're playing, you know, doing the regular thing. I'll just move to C sharp minor. So yeah, it's great for all that kind of stuff. But anyway, all we're doing is we're barring across the first three strings, 6, 5, 4 with the first finger, hammering on to 11, and then third finger on 12, first finger on 9, and then hammering to the 14th. And the idea is to just get it sounding clean. Sounds alright there, but the issue I have is I need to work on making it blend more with my legato. Because it sounds like slightly too separate, like there's too much separation for me in the texture of what I'm doing. So that's a good goal for me to do. Is a very distinct aim whenever I come to doing this, is that it needs to, or has to be closer to my legato sound. So it's very staccato-y, which isn't, you know, it's still not going to blend, is it? It has to flow more, and it has to have those qualities, that separation. That's getting a lot better. So that's one of them. The other one that's like a frangambali thing goes like this. I'll do it in the key. Now, to do it his way, and I would probably, in this situation, suggest that it's double picking the last note. So we're barring across the 14th fret with the fourth finger. I mean, we'll do it here. Actually, we'll do it here on the 9th. So we've got 9, 9, 9 with the fourth finger. And then we're going to go with the first finger to 6. And we're going to go 6, and then bar 7, 7, and then up stroke. And then if we do it down, that means we start the descent on and up. Because otherwise, it's just really hard to. So that's really hard to do. It's like, look, I'll get loads of gains out of this. But great when you get it sounding good. Great. I saw Jordan Rudez doing an exercise of 3-octave arpeggios. Any input? Yeah. So, like little extended arpeggios you can do off the top of my head, which are very handy, are things like stuff like that, which like I use quite a bit. I'll tell you what. I'll go to E minor. So here, it's basically a major 7 arpeggio. I'm going to get the view. So we've just got, this way. So we've got the first finger on the 2nd fret. So there's our root. Just putting the major 7 behind it. And then we've got 5th string, we've got 2 and 4. And that just repeats every octave. Now, however you want to pick that, I mean, sometimes I'll do the hybrid where I pick 2 notes, 2 strings, hybrid. Sometimes I'll do pick, hybrid, which works really well. Or otherwise, you can sweep the whole thing. There's a couple of different options. The minor version. We'll put it in G, so diatonically we'll do A. Says another one, the minor version, so it's just that. Or that. So we've got 3, 5, 3, and then I've got 4th finger up on the 7th there. Repeat every octave. So there's that kind of idea. Things that aren't 3 octave that move a big distance across the fret. I love these kind of ideas where we've got... Whoops, we'll do it me. That's it. So it's like a little pentatonic thing. You'll see it better actually in E minor. So what we're doing here... Another great way of getting about. Could that be the 3 octave arpeggios? We have other things. That's a good one. There's a John Petrucci solo has a similar thing. Can't remember which one it is. There's a little descending thing like that. So there's another really good arpeggio. These are good. So if you start putting them together, we'll get really nice, interesting sound, I think. Under a glass moon, that must be it. Yeah. It's just a descending, I don't know what key it's in actually, but I'm just doing a descending. I think it's an A major. Major of 7. Okay, so, sorry I was having a brain fart there. What was I doing? I was like, oh yeah, this arpeggio is great. So again, E minor. So again, we're just doing that ninth. So we've got first on the 5th, 3rd, 4th, and coming up, and then we've got first on the 8th, 3rd on the 9th, and I do a little phrase, because that leads me into, if I want to go quartal, I've got that there now, you know, so you can do some of that. Endless possibilities when you start kind of connecting them. Right, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to quickly put all the arpeggios down one go, and then you can slow them down at the end, as Brian was asking. So, for extra value, for the people who've watched, here we go. E major 7. Okay, E minor 7. E dominant 7. And we've got E flat 5 7. We have our sort of minor 11 arpeggio and major 11 arpeggio. So I'll do these in E. So we've got this first one where we've got this shape and then this shape, all on that same 12th fret line. To do the major one, we just shift the second half of that up. So this is the minor. This is the major 11, or sharp 11. And the key of E minor, we'll find it here on the C. If you're using it diatonically, and then we'd have another minor one here. But they're useful ones. Okay. So that shape can happen on the 5th, and that sharp 11 can happen on the 8th. Then we had, just sticking with that 9th thing, the last thing I did there. Again, we've got this 9th shape. And then finally, we've got the quartal stuff. So the real pain in the arse is this one. Let's do this. I'll do it. Yeah, that's a good place to do it. So I'm barring with the 4th finger across the 12th fret, 6, 5, 4, and then we've got 1 on the 9th, and then barring, pick the 12th, double pick, so our pick is on an upstroke when we descend. Okay, and then we had another variation of this, so we can play it here. Again, barring with the 1st finger. This time, a little bit of a cheek, so we've got two notes per string. There's not enough time to get your 1st finger there by the looks of it. We can start moving it now, as the next note is 3rd finger on the D note, 15th, hammer. It's like really hard to play. Okay, so that's everything all in one place. I think I've covered most of the what I was talking about. So that's at the end of the video, so you can just like quickly go to that. Slow it down, whatever you fancy. Right, I've worked hard today. 12 thumbs up. Anybody who hasn't given a thumbs up, please do that. Anybody who hasn't subscribed, subscribe. I've given away massive value today. I've worked very hard for the community. Right, okay, so got a couple more minutes because I'm not going on my park walk because she's gone to work early. And I'm not going to do it on my own. No, I can't. That's just beyond it. I can't then possibly sit and do the diagrams, but I tell you what, Enzo, you could do them for me, couldn't you? I bet your diagram taking's like really good. No, I couldn't possibly sit here and like plan a lesson with diagrams like that. That's just like, I mean, I love bugs and I love diagrams, and if you're in a lesson with me, I'll do a diagram, but other than that, it's like we're on a video here. You could make your own diagrams. Oh, God, no. I'm not that keen. Enzo, I had dreams, you know. I know it's a ton of work, but if you get a MIDI pickup, you can track them quickly without all the busy work. What would I use a MIDI pickup for? How would I get that? No, I'm not doing that. Right, well, there you go. Please do them, Enzo. Use the Fishman. Then it's like attaching shit to your guitar, isn't it? I don't like the look of them. Surely the technology for MIDI tracking is there where you can just plug your guitar into a computer and it works. We could talk about it, Enzo. I mean, like, Enzo, if you want to just do that for yourself and share it with the community, I think that would be a brilliant thing. So yes, I mean, if you want, I mean, what I'll do is whatever I'm talking about, the main highlights, I'll stick at the end of a video. And then if you wanted to like kind of make them into a tab, then that would be great. We could do that because they'll go on the Patreon site. Right, Jam Original. I had the first one and it just like the tracking wasn't great on it. Yeah, so I'll keep an eye on that, on the MIDI Guitar 3. Yes, Enzo, Hippie's right, you're the hero we need. For pattern, what's pattern? Is that like how you kind of do your tabs? Patron, okay, cool. So yes, I'll be sorting, like the end of this month, I'm sorting out the Patron. There's a website going to get made. Well, a landing page people can sign into. Because one of the problems here is like, oh yeah, you can have a guitar lesson as one-to-one coaching, you can join a coaching group, and then people probably walk away and then the thought vanishes, and then they're like, oh, I wouldn't mind doing that, and then don't have anything to look at in their own time. So I need to do that because actually my coaching generally revolves around word of mouth. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so Enzo, that would be great. And you're very keen and dedicated, aren't you? I mean, it's 4 a.m. and you're up asking questions, fully alert. It's brilliant. So, what day is it today? Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'll think of another mission for us to do. But it's been great. So, again, if you get a chance, play through the stuff. Any thoughts on this or other lessons I've done or anything you want me to go back over? I think tomorrow we'll just have an open session of bring your guitar and we'll do some stuff. Enzo, you need to sleep. Yeah. And you've sowed the seed of MIDI now. I'm now thinking about it. What if I could? Maybe it wasn't as bad as last time. Maybe I could do that. I don't fancy having stuff stuck to my guitar though. But I do love the idea of, like, in this day and age, come on, it's like 2025. You should be able to just plug your guitar in through an audio interface and then a computer accurately be able to like work out what the MIDI is. I mean, like, we've had people on the moon. Right, MIDI Guitar 3 has early access trial. I'm gonna look at it tonight. I hope I remember. I'll have to make a note. But I'll make a note of that. Maybe I'll get time to sort of try it out. The new GK5 pickup has great tracking. Is that what you've got, Enzo? Because I've seen people playing, like, there's that thing on Instagram where people are playing and I can hear, like, some sort of, like, harp sound in the back of the guitar. And is that because they're using some MIDI tracking thing? But I've never noticed any MIDI pickups in guitars or anything like that. But I'm going to check it out. Because if I had a reliable MIDI connection off my guitar, that would be pretty lethal. In fact, it would be really good. The things I could do. Brilliant. All right, everybody. So I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow. Right, yeah, we'll give it a go. I'll see. I'll get it tonight. I'll try and remember. I'll get it tonight. I use it with the new Boss GM 800 into PC via. I have to program the play. Right. Okay. Right. Because then we'll have like MPE technology, so that would be really interesting as well. That's probably a bit like far-fetched for now. All right, guys, I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm heading off now, but not for my park walk. All right, bye.